Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 224, written by BastardsOfMidnight, a vivid dream of her beloved dog. 3 years ago, my childhood dog died very suddenly and unexpectedly. She was sick for a few days, but turned it around and got better before dying very quickly and painfully in my dad's arms. I live out of state, so I wasn't able to be there for any of it. It's a 6-hour drive, and I felt very, very guilty about her passing without me being there. I had a very deep connection to her, and she had been my best friend for 12 years. I was devastated by her death. I couldn't work or eat or do much of anything. I was constantly bursting into tears. It was just awful. My heart just aches, and I found myself apologizing to her for not being there. I just felt so guilty. One night I had a dream about her. I dreamt I was in this empty space, and Charlie came running up to me, whimpering excitedly. She was licking my face and generally just freaking out, and I was sobbing. I knew she was dead, and I knew she was visiting me in my dream. I was very aware of it all. I kept hugging her and crying and apologizing, and she just kept licking my face and being affectionate. I woke up with tears streaming down my face and sat up in my bed. I could still smell her distinctive smell, and on my sleeve I pulled off one of her hairs. She had never been to my apartment, and I hadn't seen her recently. It wasn't cat hair either, as Charlie was a collie mix, and their fur pattern is very distinctive. It may all be a coincidence, but it was so vivid and real. I like to think she was visiting me to let me know everything is okay and not to worry. I haven't had a dream like that since. Case notes, file number 224. So simple, such a beautiful experience to have. Proper closure after your best girl passed on. I'm right there with you in the belief that her essence was still there, at least in some part. It's often said that animals can sense otherworldly beings, ghosts and so on. But it may carry over for us in sensing them too, or even connecting with them after they die. Case file number 225. Written by Healing Potato Lemon, a mother outside of space and time. This is something that has bothered me for over a decade, so I wanted to post to get some other people's perspectives. When I was a teenager, my parents and I lived in a large house where their master bedroom was on the first floor, and my bedroom was upstairs with the other bedrooms. I have an older brother, but he had been moved out of the house for years at this point. My bedroom was at the end of a long carpeted hallway, and the stairs were all the way on the other side of the second floor, so it wasn't uncommon to not hear someone approach my room. It was around 10 p.m., and my parents had gone to bed. It was a school night, so I was supposed to be sleeping too, but I was awake messaging my friends on AIM, showing my age here. My door was barely cracked open at the time. My bedroom light was off, but my attached bathroom light was on, which dimly illuminated my bedroom doorway. I looked up to see my bedroom door swing open 18 inches or so, and my mom's dimly lit face looking at me for 1 to 2 seconds from the hallway, and then the door shut, completely latched now. My dog at the time was laying on my bed, and he looked up too. After the door shut, he sat at attention at the end of my bed like he was ready to protect me. My mom has very dark hair, and I remember thinking her hair looked a lot lighter at that moment. This will be more important later. My mom has always been quite passive-aggressive, so my first thought was that she saw I was still awake on my computer, was pissed, and stormed off. I yelled out, "Mom? Mom?" several times, and she didn't respond. Our home phones also functioned as intercoms between one another, showing my age again. So I used the home phone in my bedroom to call the home phone on my mom's bedside table. It took her several rings to pick up, and when she answered, she sounded tired. I started defending myself and apologizing for still being awake, and then asked what she wanted and why she didn't respond when I yelled out to her. She was quiet for a few confused seconds, and then started asking me what I was talking about, because my call had woken her up. I then asked her what she was talking about because I had just seen her open my bedroom door, look at me, shut the door, and walk away. She had no idea what I was talking about, and sounded generally annoyed that I woke her up. She told me I shouldn't be awake anyways, to go to bed, and hung up. After that conversation, I started freaking out because I knew what I saw. I wasn't tired or on the verge of falling asleep in bed, or anything that could be explained by visual hallucinations caused by drifting off to sleep. I started thinking about how my mom's hair looked lighter than normal when I saw her, and realized it looked just like my aunt's hair before she had lost it to chemo. My mom and aunt looked almost identical in stature and build, and in their faces too, with the only difference being my aunt's hair being a dirty blonde color. They both kept their hair at shoulder length and had the same soft waves. My aunt, unfortunately, died from breast cancer a month or so prior to this happening, so my mind jumped to it being a paranormal experience. I didn't share those details with anyone after this happened, out of fear they would think I was crazy. I haven't had anything like this happen since. It's worth noting for anyone that looks at my post history that I do have epilepsy, but I have never had visual auras or visual experiences, and I didn't have any other symptoms of my focal seizures when this happened. If you're enjoying this video, consider giving it a like. Now on to the next story. Case file number 226, written by Tombo6969, his doppelganger chasing after his girlfriend. For the sake of context, I'll start by saying that when I was in my late teens, I used to live in a small town just outside Hamburg, not far from my girlfriend at the time. We used to spend a lot of time together and go out for lots of walks as neither of us had cars. Every few days I would walk her to Fahrschule, driving school, just up the road. Her classes always started pretty late into the evening, and it was winter in Germany, so the days were very short and it got dark very early. I used to hate when she would walk there alone. Furthermore, after dropping her off at her classes, I always tried to be there to walk her home also. I would simply depart after dropping her off and return after the duration of her class. This is where crap gets weird. One particular evening, I dropped her off as normal, only about a 20-minute walk, traversing a quiet wooded park and a few short side streets to get there. I left to go back home for about an hour or so, then departed early so that I could catch her before she left. For some reason, I arrived especially early this time and had to wait outside for about 20 minutes. It was very dark, and I was simply sitting at the bus stop across the street from the school. I waited and waited and waited, and she just wasn't exiting the doors to the school. I sat outside for probably 35 minutes just waiting there. It should be noted that I didn't have my phone on me at the time. I had thought it would just be a quick and easy excursion, so I didn't bring it. Clearly a mistake. At this point, I of course start to ponder. Has she already left? I must have missed her. She should be finished by now, etc. After about 40 minutes went by, I started contemplating heading back the way I came to see if she was walking alone. But I didn't want to risk it just in case she hadn't actually left yet. So I remained there, waiting nervously. This is the really weird part. I'm sitting there tapping my foot, and I see two people with flashlights walking up the street from the opposite direction, apparently looking for someone. I was like, what the hell? I got up and approached to see what was going on. The two people searching were my girlfriend, who I was waiting for, and her mother. As soon as they saw me approaching, they said, "There you are! We've been looking all over for you. Where the hell have you been? And what the hell have you been doing all the way back here?" I said, "What do you mean? I've been here for 40 minutes waiting for you to leave school. Where did you two just come from?" "What's going on? I finished early today and started walking back alone. I wasn't able to contact you because I had no phone, but I saw you following me. Why are you back here now? This isn't funny." I was dumbfounded. "What are you talking about? I've been right here for 45 minutes straight." Now this is what my girlfriend saw from her perspective. After leaving slightly early from her class that day, she began walking astutely back home after noticing I hadn't arrived to pick her up yet. Assuming she would bump into me on the way, she wasn't worried about walking home alone, and she confidently began heading home. She spotted me about 500 meters away and witnessed me crossing the street, which I had actually done while walking toward the school. She expected me to approach her and greet her, but it seems I didn't notice her across the street, and we walked right by one another. This was the last time she actually saw me before meeting me again at the bus stop. Regrettably, I used to be quite the prankster. I was always teasing and messing with her, so she assumed that's what I was doing then. She thought I was intentionally ignoring her so that I would sneak around and scare her or something. I don't know. Either way, she didn't call my name because she thought I was being a dick. The creepy part. So after that initial interaction, I shortly thereafter arrived at the bus stop and proceeded to wait. She, on the other hand, had a very eventful walk. After she saw me initially, she kept walking towards home, expecting me to jump scare her or whatever, and her expectations, to her, seemed to be fulfilled. She began hearing footsteps behind her about 10 meters away. She knew it was me just messing with her. She then looked back and what she saw was me following her in my exact outfit, walking exactly how I walk, just following her and staring at the ground. According to her, it was my exact face, hair color, and even physical demeanor. To her, it was beyond the shadow of a doubt that it was me following her. So damn strange. The doppelganger said nothing, never looked up, and kept a consistent 10 meters behind her. He followed her for a few minutes down the road, just being creepy as all hell. She of course turned forward again and laughed at my supposed pathetic attempt to scare her, yet after an amount of time had passed, she started getting weirded out and wondering what the hell I was doing. Shortly thereafter, the footsteps stopped and she lost me around a bend in the road. She looked back confused and even called my name to no avail. She shrugged and continued forward through the wooded park near her home. It was a very quiet, dark, and creepy part, but she powered through it. Quick reminder that this entire time I was actually sitting at the bus stop. About halfway through the small park, she hears footsteps again, but they were much faster and heavier. She turns around to once again see me sprinting towards her at full tilt, baggy jeans, heavy sweater, just sprinting as fast as I could. She saw my eyes glaring into hers and like staring into her soul. At this point, she was startled. She didn't know what was happening and I was apparently booking it straight towards her. As the doppelganger got about 10 meters away, he turned and ran down another pathway in the park, running towards a non-lit, pitch-dark section of the park. Sprinting as fast as he could, like what the hell is going on? She watched as I sprinted into the darkness and faded from view. The immense confusion sparked some worry in her. She was almost home and thought maybe I was running around to meet her on the other side of the park or something. Also, she just wanted to get the hell out of that creepy-ass park. She really gave that doppelganger the benefit of the doubt that night, though. So she arrives home, asks her mother if I've arrived, and sure enough, I never showed up. She tells her mom the whole story, and they began to worry something was wrong. They waited a few minutes, then decided to look around for me. When their attempts failed, they thought to look around near the driving school again, and that's where they found the real me at the bus stop. That's basically the whole story. It was extremely peculiar, and since that day, about 6 years ago, I've been wondering what the hell it could mean. I've heard that doppelgangers are omens of death, but lately I've been thinking maybe it was some elaborate glitch or some kind of intersection of universes. What do you guys think?